Working in Democratic offices at the time of the alleged leaking in 1617. This staffer was interviewed by FBI agents on several occasions and told those agents that then Congressman Adam Schiff was the one who...
A former Democratic staffer who worked in Congress during the alleged leaking in 2017 has come forward to describe what he witnessed. According to this whistleblower, then Congressman Adam Schiff directly approved the dissemination of sensitive information to the media. The staffer repeatedly told FBI agents that he considered the leaks unethical, illegal, and potentially treasonous. His testimony painted a picture of a congressional office where political objectives often overrode ethical considerations. This revelation challenges a narrative that Schiff acted solely as a principled investigator and positions him as a central figure in orchestrating leaks for strategic purposes.
Staff member began talking to the FBI in 2017 because he said he considered the leaks to be, quote, unethical, illegal, and treasonous. This is a Democrat staffer who is saying to the FBI he had a holy shit moment when he heard Adam Schiff give the order. These documents that outline the FBI's interview, like the FBI doesn't tape its interviews. They go back and they report what they heard.
Megyn Kelly's investigation highlights the stark contrast between Adam Schiff's public persona and the reality described by insiders. While he cultivated an image of a fearless truth seeker, Kelly's reporting suggests his career was dominated by spectacle and performance. Rather than delivering substantive evidence, Schiff relied on dramatic speeches and media appearances to project authority. Every highly anticipated revelation fizzled when examined closely. His method relied less on uncovering genuine corruption and more on maintaining the appearance of power and influence, capturing headlines without producing tangible results.
To shock the world right now and defend Adam Schiff. In response to the heat he's getting for the following clip.
It is an existential threat, Senator, and also
asleep.
I have not seen it yet, but from what I've heard about former FBI Director Ray,
someone in the audience behind
comments on 60
Pam
Minutes regarding China
is videotaping Adam Schiff asleep.
In our own country, infiltrating our water systems, our national gas lines.
I defend Adam Schiff because these...
The whistleblower's accounts to the FBI underscore the seriousness of the alleged misconduct. He described a moment in 2017 when Schiff explicitly instructed his staff to leak classified information with the goal of influencing investigations involving then-President Donald Trump. According to the staffer, internal concerns about legality were dismissed. Schiff's office reassured employees that the leaks would not have consequences, creating an environment where ethical boundaries were intentionally blurred. This scenario raises fundamental questions about accountability and the proper use of classified information within Congress.
I believe he's going to weaponize the DOJ to use it against his opponents. I believe that's what was done to him. Though, as we discussed with Alan Dershowitz in that now famous clip that went around where I said we need Steve Bannon, I'm not totally opposed to it. I'm going to be honest. Who would cry a tear if Adam Schiff actually got some sort of hassle thrown his way by the DOJ?
Kelly critiques Schiff's ability to turn political theater into a career strategy. She portrays him not as a defender of democracy, but as a politician who thrives on optics and audience reaction. His reliance on vague phrasing, such as the evidence suggests or we have seen signs, became a hallmark of his method, allowing him to imply explosive developments without presenting verifiable facts. This approach enabled Schiff to maintain attention, dominate headlines, and control narratives while delivering little substance. It also cultivated a sense of urgency and drama that amplified his public profile.
Schiff stated the group would leak classified information which was derogatory to the President of the United States, Donald J. Trump. Schiff stated the information would be used to indict President Trump. The whistleblower stated this would be illegal. And upon hearing his concerns, unnamed members of the meeting reassured that they would not be caught leaking classified information.
The documentary-style investigation emphasizes how Schiff monetized fear. Kelly highlights his repeated fundraising efforts tied to exaggerated warnings about the Trump administration. Every dramatic claim became a vehicle for donations, linking public anxiety to financial gain. This pattern suggests that his career success was intertwined with the creation of suspense rather than tangible accomplishments. Schiff's brand became inseparable from ongoing political tension, turning national security issues into a mechanism for personal and political advancement.
Pardoned Adam Schiff at the end of his term. But unlike the one he gave to Hunter, it was a limited pardon.
It was.
And it only spoke to J6 and his work on the January 6th Select Committee. So it would not immunize him from any of the claims you and I are discussing right now, right?
Schiff's obsession with impeachment and his focus on Donald Trump dominated his professional identity. He positioned himself as the central figure in a campaign to hold the president accountable. Yet years of hearings and investigations yielded minimal evidence of wrongdoing. Kelly frames this as a strategic performance, with Schiff presenting himself as a heroic investigator, while the substance of his claims consistently failed to materialize. The whistleblower's accounts corroborate that this approach was carefully cultivated within his office, reinforcing the narrative of political theater over factual investigation.
Walk us through what the 302 reports that the FBI wrote up after their interviews with this whistleblower say.
Yeah, so let's give you a sense of who this person is. We don't know their name because the name is redacted, but we know their career. They're a career intelligence officer. So they started in the executive branch as an intelligence officer, and then they get detailed to the Democratic side of the House Intelligence Committee. Eventually, this person inherits as his boss, Adam Schiff, when Adam Schiff takes over as the Democrat minority ranking member on House Intelligence in 2016. And they're working for Adam Schiff. And somewhere in the beginning of the Russia collusion, false narrative building in America, he attends a meeting where Adam Schiff said
the alleged leaks described by the staffer raised serious ethical and legal concerns. Classified information was reportedly shared with the media in an effort to influence public perception and political outcomes. Internal objections were disregarded, and employees were encouraged to prioritize strategic objectives over legal compliance. According to the whistleblower, these actions were not isolated incidents, but part of a broader pattern of behavior orchestrated by Schiff to maintain his image as a decisive and fearless investigator, even if the actions themselves skirted legality.
At least according to the legal experts I've talked to, he's only immunized for what he did related from January 6th forward of 2021. So these things occurred in 17 and 18. You've got the mortgage issue, which is also based on our reporting, a story we broke last October on the counting two houses as his primary residence to get better mortgage deals. Those would fall outside of the pardon, according to the legal experts who've looked at it. And I suspect if those get to the case of criminality at some point, that there may be some legal challenges trying to test that pardon's.
Megyn Kelly exposes how Schiff repeatedly leveraged media exposure to maintain relevance. Every new hearing or public appearance was presented as a potential revelation, yet most produced no concrete results. Kelly argues that his public persona was constructed to create suspense and control the narrative, while actual accountability remained minimal. The contrast between the hype surrounding his claims and the absence of substantive outcomes demonstrates how theatrical presentation can manipulate perception, allowing a politician to appear effective without producing tangible achievements.
We just have a whole criminal investigation of Donald Trump for having documents at Mar-a-Lago that might have classified information in them, and we just can't have that. We can't have classified information running around out there in the hands of people who aren't authorized. Meanwhile, this is the former president of the United States who can declassify everything. We were told that for 2 years straight, the past 2 years by Democrats. And now what you're saying is that one of the most vocal about that, Adam Schiff, had been at
the former staffer's testimony also highlights the systemic nature of the alleged misconduct. Employees within Schiff's office reportedly internalized the expectation that dramatic leaks and statements were part of standard operating procedure. This environment rewarded compliance with performative tactics and discouraged ethical dissent. Kelly interprets this pattern as emblematic of a broader issue in politics, where image and influence often overshadow transparency and institutional responsibility. Schiff's approach transformed Congress into a stage for dramatic performance rather than a forum for substantive policy work.
Only the unverified allegation of a single former staffer, the alleged conduct would involve criminal and unethical conduct of the highest order, if proven. Your reaction to this news?
Well, it's in keeping with my opinion of Adam Schiff. I've been calling him McCarthyite ever since he started in on Trump. And as John pointed out, McCarthy, at least there had some communists in the government that he was talking about, although he was irresponsible. Adam Schiff repeatedly came out and said, I have seen documents that indict, that link Trump to Russia, but I can't reveal them to you now, but just you wait, I'm going to reveal them. And of course, we know they weren't there. We know there was nothing there. Now we have this information from the whistleblower, my favorite part of which is when the whistleblower says he objected to the illegal.
Kelly details Schiff's use of ambiguity and innuendo to maintain attention. By framing unverified intelligence as suggestive evidence, he could continually create new narratives without committing to factual accuracy. This method amplified suspense and reinforced his image as a decisive investigator, yet it undermined credibility. According to legal experts cited in the investigation, his actions fall into a gray area of political ethics, demonstrating how careful manipulation of language can influence public perception while avoiding direct legal consequences.
The whistleblower was reportedly very specific on the details. Like, it doesn't sound like a lie because this person had a lot of details when speaking to the FBI. Quote, when working in this capacity, this whistleblower was called to an all-staff meeting by Schiff. In this meeting, Schiff stated the group would leak classified information, which was derogatory.
Schiff's critics argue that his reliance on theatrics actively harmed institutional trust. By repeatedly promoting dramatic claims that ultimately collapsed under scrutiny, he eroded confidence in congressional oversight. Kelly emphasizes that these patterns were not incidental but central to his approach, as they allowed him to dominate media coverage while minimizing accountability. The whistleblower's detailed descriptions of office procedures suggest that these methods were explicitly taught and reinforced internally, creating a culture that prioritized spectacle over substance.
I have whistleblower interview transcripts from the FBI. They're not exactly transcripts, they're FBI write-ups of the interviews that they conducted with a whistleblower who's a self-described Democrat working for the Democrats on the House Intelligence Committee, who worked for them, by the way, for 10 years, who says that he was there in 2017 when he heard Adam Schiff say, we are going to leak classified documents and
In conclusion, Megyn Kelly frames Adam Schiff as a politician whose career was built on performance, manipulation, and selective presentation of information. While he projected the image of a fearless defender of democracy, the cumulative evidence paints a different picture, a strategist focused on attention, fundraising, and image management. Kelly's investigation, supported by the whistleblower's testimony, reveals a tension between persona and reality, exposing a legacy defined not by leadership,